fan of it. But one player who we're not quite sure what he is going to do, that is Kawhi Leonard. He got traded to the Toronto Raptors, of course, for DeMar DeRozan. The initial reports was Kawhi Leonard was not pleased with going to Toronto. Can't blame him. A lot of players would not be pleased by moving out the country completely and going to play for the Toronto Raptors. Traditionally, not a lot of players really want to go to Toronto. And that was my biggest gripe with Toronto trading DeMar DeRozan, is because DeMar DeRozan is that one-star player. Yes, he's not a superstar, but he's still that one-star player that actually wants to play in Toronto. Every other big-name player, they left. Chris Bosh, he left Toronto. Tracy McGrady, he left Toronto. Vince Carter, he left Toronto. And the only big-name guy there was really DeMar DeRozan. He wanted to be there. When he was an unrestricted free agent, he didn't even take a meeting with anybody, including the Lakers, his own hometown team. He didn't even take a meeting with LA when they wanted to bring in DeMar DeRozan. So for them, I think this was a gamble that wasn't going to pay off. I don't see a situation where Kawhi Leonard stays in Toronto. I think at the end of the year, regardless of what Toronto does, I truly believe at the end of the year, he will end up in LA. But one person who is saying or thinking otherwise is somebody reportedly close to Kawhi Leonard. Of course, when these rumors start coming out, we don't know exactly who said it, but this is being reported by the San Diego Union Tribune, a person close to Kawhi Leonard is saying that they believe Kawhi will stay with the Toronto Raptors at the end of the season. Now, the only way I can see this happening is just for a PR move and just to make sure you keep your brand intact, because the brand is going to be damaged, of course, but I think the damage is already done. I don't think anybody in Toronto truly expects him to really stay past this season. A lot of people have their hopes up, of course, because of the whole Paul George situation. That whole Paul George situation to me is an anomaly. It doesn't happen all the time. If a player gives up $200 million to say, hey, I want to become an unrestricted free agent so I can sign with another team, more than likely, he is going to sign with the other team. So the fact that Paul George was able to just build this great relationship with Russell Westbrook, build a great relationship with the Oklahoma City Thunder organization is just an anomaly. It doesn't happen often. So the fact that the Toronto Raptors are trying this with Kawhi Leonard, once again, I don't think it's going to happen a second time where Kawhi Leonard now is going to all of a sudden embrace Toronto. I think he's going to embrace them enough just to keep his brand somewhat intact. But if you're trying to do anything else, and it looks like Kawhi, he's now looking into revenue streams outside of basketball, into his shoe deal. He wants a bigger shoe deal with Jordan. You're going to get that if you go to LA. You're not going to get that in Toronto. Toronto is not selling shoes. The biggest thing they have in Toronto, of course, is Drake. But at the same time, he's not going to improve your off-the-court image. He's not going to improve your shoe sales. You're going to need to do that. I think LA is the best place to go if that's what you really want to do, is back at home for Kawhi. He's going to feel comfortable back there. And if he really wants to go to LA, and I'm not even saying just the Lakers, there's still a small possibility that he could go to the Clippers. But I think just being in LA is going to help his brand. I think that's what he wants to do. He wants to be back close to family. He wants to be back close to where he grew up. And of course, Staples Center only about an hour away from where he grew up. So I think ultimately, he ends up back in LA. I don't believe these reports that he wants to stay in Toronto. I don't think he will stay in Toronto, but it sounds good to say now. Kind of keep some of the media off of you, kind of keep some of the fans off of you as well. But at the end of the day, I just don't see a situation truly where Kawhi Leonard decides to stay with the Toronto Raptors. I think he becomes an unrestricted free agent, and at that point, he's going to take some meetings with these LA teams, and I don't see him really leaving LA next offseason. But that is the story that is going on right now. Like I said, it is being reported by the San Diego Union Tribune. They are saying that Kawhi Leonard won't leave the Toronto Raptors. I just don't think it is true. Now, another player who is already in LA